At this moment in history, as we created, I would like to introduce you to the churches of East New York, Brooklyn, and the poverty-stricken, ungentrified neighborhood that they reside in. I'm going to be asking some questions that I know many will not want to respond to, and that's okay. This piece is not to judge. This piece is not to command a response. The purpose of this piece is to provoke thought. Might I spark the thought in one person who may in time have an answer? What role does religion play in this neighborhood? And does poverty affect the aspect that religion has on the people who reside here?
A 40-year-old black male who lives in this community. He's a father of two and married. My question to you, sir, is how does the church play a role in your life and how you raise your children and how your family survives in this community?
It doesn't. I don't go to church. I believe in God, but I feel that you don't have to go to church to be blessed.
So for this portion of my project, I was given the privilege to speak with and interview Minister John Stubbs of the East Ward Missionary Baptist Church. Minister Stubbs, thank you for taking the time out to speak with me for my class. And I just have a couple of questions for you, and I really appreciate this. What role do you think the church plays in underprivileged neighborhoods?
Well, the church, especially speaking of the black church, has always been effective in situations that the black community has been underprivileged. If you search back to the history, even during slavery, it was the church that gave our community and gave our people the hope in elevating in spite of circumstances. So I believe that the church of today is fulfilling the same roles in the communities in spite of their privilege, the things that they are around.
That makes a lot of sense. In such communities, why do you believe the church is thriving despite the impoverished conditions in the surrounding areas? So in areas like East New York, Brownsville, areas where gentrification haven't really come into play yet, why do you think churches are found on every corner, every block, sandwiched in between liquor stores and bodegas? Why are they thriving and the people in the communities may be lacking?
Well, the first thing I would have to say is because of the foundation, and that is their relationship with God, their faith in God, their trust in God, and so that being the unifying factor in their trust in God and their faith in God, with the structure of the church and the coming together as oneness, not only does it give hope, but that faith in God begins to move amongst the congregation, and then it spreads. And so with the structure of the church, again, from the beginning days and the olden days, our history and black history, the church has always been the foundation in which we give hope in an adverse situation. And with that faith and that hope and that trust in God, there's also structures and programs that the church gives. And it has been successful throughout history.
This became more than a project to me. It became a revelation because as a resident of East New York, delving into it and looking at it introspectively from the camera lens, it allowed me to see that churches nestled in between liquor stores, nestled in between abandoned buildings and check cashing places and just things that illuminated poverty, it showed me that religion must be an aspect that the people of this community are holding on to, because even in the midst of everything that they were surrounded by, these churches had people coming and going freely on a Sunday in the rain. The membership did not diminish at all. It didn't decrease. Everyone had smiles on their faces, and it allowed me to see that there's either a divide of really, really believing that the church is going to save this community, or really not believing.
They don't, because I feel they should all get together in order to impact the communities on a whole instead of just the people that's going to the church. Because once they leave the church, they still need to walk into a better environment instead of only coming to that one place for a better environment.
The diversity of the community and of the different churches was evident also in the way that a block from a Spanish Iglesia church would be a Muslim mosque. Then a few blocks down, there's a Russian Orthodox church. Then there's also a Baptist church that's housed in an old landmark Jewish church with Stars of David plastered on the front. It just shows how diverse the community of East New York is and what it once was. East New York was originally home to one of the first magistrate courts in Brooklyn. It was also home to a lot of immigrants who migrated over from Germany, from Russia, and from other European countries in the early 1800s. And they planted themselves in the same avenues now, where there's poverty and a lot of despair. So it's just interesting to see that given the shift and changes in the community, that a lot of things religion-wise stayed the same. So there's Russian Orthodox who don't live in the community, but they travel and commute to this community for their worshiping. So a lot did not want to be interviewed personally, but I can tell from brief conversation with them that they're very happy to keep their church home in this community, and it's thriving.